Hi, and welcome to my educational videos. On this video, I'm going to focus on Neuland Calligraphy. I'm going to write a short quote. I'm going to share with you the thought process while I'm writing the quote, and I'm going to analyze my work at the end and see if there are spaces for improvement or things I could do differently for the next time. If you need recommendations on materials or you want to download blank calligraphy guidelines, you will find a free PDF file on the description on this video. Now I'm gonna share the camera. I'm gonna share my table with you and I'm gonna start writing. So you can come and join me with a bamboo pen, which is what I'm using today, or you can use your own tool. Obviously, with this type of writing, because Neuland is a specific type of writing that is really, really bold, it would be ideal if you have a thick broad edge pen. But you can join with any tool that you have around. Okay, so let's go. I'm gonna show the table now. Okay. So this is the tool I'm going to use for today. This is a bamboo that I cut myself and is more or less 5 mm. So the guidelines are built based on this specific tool of 5 mm. If you're using a tool that is much smaller, for example, 3 mm, you would build the guidelines using 3 mm, a small gap, 3 mm, another small gap, and 3 more mm. So it's actually very easy to build your own guidelines. Then I'm gonna be using walnut crystals and I'm gonna be using liquid watercolors. This today is slightly navy color. Okay. The next step is going to be using a paper, which I'm gonna place right on top of my guidelines and I will still see my lines through. I'm gonna attach both of them together with fancy paper clips or with regular paper clips, like that's what I have currently. And we are gonna start writing. So the quote for today, let's zoom in and go to the corner. Excellent. The quote for today is, "Perfectionism is the voice of the oppressor." And this quote is by American writer Anne Lamott. And you can find this quote and the author on the description of the video as well. Okay, so let's start. So Neuland is a typeface which was designed in 1920s by Rudolf Koch. This typeface is very, very bold with really, really small counters and a small space between each letter form. So we have a very compact and condensed look and feel. Let me position properly. Okay. So we are going to start with capital P and the rest of the capitals because this alphabet is working in capitals. I'm going to reposition a little bit better. So I'll be turning the camera as well so that I feel a little bit more comfortable. Okay. All right. So I'm starting with a vertical stroke. If you have problems getting your strokes vertical, I recommend adding vertical lines to the blank guideline. Slowly, second one, in. Okay. The decision I'm going to make from the beginning is that I'm going to overlap the letters quite a lot. Why? Is because the first word is going to be very, very long. So I need to make sure I have enough space on this page, which is currently an A4, to fit everything I need to write. So E, first stroke, well, second is the top bar. Third is actually going to be, I'm gonna cheat and I'm gonna go with the third stroke being the bottom one. And now I'm gonna try to position the bamboo pen in the middle so that the counter spaces are really similar between the third and the second and the third strokes. So the counters are really similar. All right, now letter R. I want to leave a tiny gap in between so that it's very easy to read Otherwise, it might get confusing if the L, the E, and the R are together. The leg of the R. And now I know that the F will overlap with the leg of the R. Let's move the paper a little bit. Stop early. Letter E. First bar. Second, and I can go in the center. Letter C, overlapping. Now letter T is going to create a lot of space between the C and the T, so I'm gonna overlap quite a lot. And down. Now I need to go just a little bit more, just a little bit more. Okay. I'm using color to enhance legibility so that the letters are identifiable, although I'm overlapping. And I'm using again another color to differentiate the letters. Letter N, slowly moving. Very close to the end. An S, which is gonna be very, very narrow in comparison to the N. And then an M that is gonna be very wide compared to the S. Let's move the paper slightly more. And okay, stop. So the interesting part of all this work we are doing so far is that the first word, as you can see, occupies my entire A4 paper. And so this is very important because depending what we are designing and the format of the page, we might have a lot of problems already. So let's keep on going, and then at the end we can analyze what we are doing and see how we can change things. Okay, let's zoom in again. Now, this is the second line. Let's move it slightly so you see it. Yeah. Okay, so perfectionism. Now let's start with the second word, is, is. D, small gap, and and an E. Again, second stroke at the top, third stroke at the bottom, and trying to get similar counters. Okay. Is the voice. I'm going to decide that voice is going to be on the second line because the first word is so long that I want to balance things. So I'm going to make right voice second line as well. The O and the V are going to be sitting really close to each other. Let me move the paper slightly. I have the option here to create a round E, so let's go. I can just create one bar as I just did in here, or I can give more white by increasing and adding a top bar and a bottom bar. Okay. Is the voice, let's go to the third line, of the the slowly, and the letters really close to each other, creating a compact message. And then the last line, it's going to be for the last word, which is oppressor, which is a letter, a word that has two P's and two S's. Because I just noticed on my pencil sketch, I didn't write oppressor with two P's, but actually is two P's of the okay, first one, second one, Letter R, overlapping the second P quite a lot. Letter E, overlapping the leg of the R. First S, very narrow to give a contrast in width. And second S, very close to the first one. Now I'm going to create an O that is quite wide in comparison to create contrast in widths. And the last letter form, letter R. Okay, excellent. Now let's have a look at the whole code and chat about what things could be changed or improved or done differently for the next time. Let me grab a red pen. Okay. All right, so as I mentioned at the beginning, the first thing to keep in mind is that the first word is super long. So if you are looking to create a square or vertical layout, definitely you might want to consider breaking the first word here and breaking this word in two parts. It might not be like grammatically common, but we are paying the more attention here for the visual message than the grammar at this point. So it wouldn't be bad, but it's gonna be like really convenient if you wanna create a square or vertical format. Perfectionism. Now, that's what I would do if I'm looking for a vertical or square result. Secondly, I very much like this gradient color. I think it's working really well. I have this really pale coffee color, then in some areas a little bit more yellowish, and then this really beautiful teal color. So I think the contrast between the two inks works really well. The rest, I would say, I like that there is very small gap in here in between the lines. It's almost the same gap between the bars of the E than the gaps between lines. So I would compress the message and make the space between the lines slightly smaller here and here to make the message even more compact. I don't mind this round E. I think works well with the shape of the C next to it. Uh, I could even create more contractions, but I don't need to because I have enough space on the horizontal. I definitely like this movement that I can see in here, and some letters narrower, some letters a little bit wider. I think this is a very beautiful effect of the different widths of the alphabet. So for the rest, I'm I'm very happy with that. So I think it works well. It's very important you work out the length of the message you want to create, and if there is a specific outcome you want, landscape, square, or vertical. Excellent. Okay, so let me change the camera now. And the last thing for this video is just wanted to share with you that I just recently released a self-paced course called Introduction to Neuland Calligraphy. And in that course, you will be able to learn a lot more things, which are not only related to the letter forms and the spacing, but also different types of layouts, different types of quotes, different types of designs, a centerpiece, how to work with black paper and white paper, and many other aspects of it, and many other also additional resources for you. So if you are interested in learning more, you'll find the info in the description here. And thank you very much again.